So I had a very interesting perspective with this one, and I'm very excited to tell you about it. My name is Brandon Keith Avery, and this is just my opinion. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thank you so much for tuning in to my opinion/review for Boy Erased. I really do appreciate it. Now, I'm a little bit late to the party with this one, and that's okay. It is better late than never. But now we have Boy Erased. This premiered this year, September 2018, at the Telluride Film Festival, if I pronounced that correctly. There's been a lot of buzz around this film, a lot of hype. A lot of people are saying that it's one of the best films of the year. And of course, definitely, I'm going to get into that myself. If you look at this on Rotten Tomatoes right now, it is sitting at, let me see real quick, 82%. And I'll go ahead and say for the most part that I do agree with that so far. Now, this is being written, directed by Joel Edgerton. He also starred in the film as one of the therapists, and I said therapist for a reason. I'll get into that in just a second. This is his second time behind the camera as a director. A couple of years ago, he directed The Gift, which was pretty good. He also starred in that, so he's good in front and behind the camera. One of my favorite roles he did was Warrior, which came out a number of years ago. And what this film Boy Erased is about is it's the son of a Baptist preacher is forced to participate in a church-supported gay conversion program. And the synopsis says forcibly outed by his parents, but I don't necessarily agree with that. Now, I'm going to be very honest with you right here. Oh, well, before I go there, this is based on a true story, based on the memoir of Gerard Connolly, which came out a number of years ago, which makes this film just even more impactful. Now, what I was just about to say is I'm going to be very honest with you. A lot of people are probably not going to believe me, but this is the honest God truth. I went into this movie knowing absolutely nothing of what it was about. I went in completely blind. I had no idea that it had to do with religion and gay people or the LGBTQ community, excuse me. I just had no idea. I had no idea that it was about gay conversion schools or anything like that. Now, of course, I've heard about the movie for a number of weeks now, just like everybody talking about how good it was. So the only marketing that I knew of was just like a couple of posters and just people, boy erased, boy erased, boy erased. I thought it had to do with like a little boy. I did that on purpose. Been a fan of movies for a long time. I used to always watch every trailer like 10 years ago, 5 years ago. I do that now, of course. I react to trailers, but I purposely wanted to go into this one just blind. And so, given the source material and the context of everything, and the characters and all that good stuff, I just thought that you guys should know that, with me giving you my opinion. Now, I'm not going to talk about the story itself because it's based on a true story. I'm going to talk about the characters, how they were presented, and how the story was told. And so the best thing about this film so far is just the acting. Most notably by Russell Crowe, who plays the father. His name in the film is Marshall Emmons. He is the Baptist pastor in this film with strong religious beliefs, and his son Jared Emmons, played by Lucas Hedges, who also did a great job in this film. Those two stole the show for me. They have a very interesting father and son relationship. There were two key scenes, one kind of at the very beginning of the film, ending first act, going into the second act, and then one of the ending scenes in the entire film. It was very powerful. Jared, played by Lucas Hedges, like I said, he just had to stand up to his father. And, that can either work well on screen or it can crash and burn. And here it shined like a star. I mean, standing up to your father about what you believe in when they have different beliefs down to their core, it can be a very difficult thing to do. A lot of course, men in the world can relate to that. And just the way that it was presented on screen here, it was sad. It was daunting, but it was real and it was necessary. Just to, kind of show the audience, how important this was, this life event, that took, that had to do with Gerard Connolly. Nicole Kidman is also in here as well. She does a very great job as well. I mean, the acting across the board, is phenomenal. I'm gonna talk about the school now. What the film, I think the goal of the film here is to show you how horrific these schools can be and what it does to a person, the conditioning that it causes. And it's a horrible thing. But I imagine in the real life, the way it's presented to an interesting part is just like, hey, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Everything is going to be okay. This is perfectly innocent. And that's how it's portrayed in the film as well. Especially from my perspective, I had no idea what I was going into anyway. So, I had no type of prejudgment. But that's what the film did at the very beginning. It just kind of shows you like, hey, this is completely voluntary. No one is forcing this upon you. This is completely up to you. These are our rules. There's a slight communication. Here are our visiting hours, etc. I was just kind of saying to myself, like, okay, wow. You know what I'm saying? This is not that bad. Everybody that's participating in this program seems like they want to be there. So it seems like his parents still love him. So that's just interesting. As the film progresses on, more and more layers are just kind of pulled back, and you just realize, okay, you see one thing here, and it's okay, that made me a little bit uncomfortable. Okay, now they're stepping it up a little bit more. Like, now you're like, okay, wait a minute. This place is horrible. We need to get everybody out of here. If this is how you're treating people, if this is how you're treating gay people or lesbian people, bisexual people, whatever. My goodness gracious, this is horrific. So the film did just a great job of just showing you, how nasty these places were. It was very uncomfortable. This film also is just definitely not for everybody. I will say this. Rape is already horrible. And there's a rape scene in this film right here, and I'm just like, whoa. I was uncomfortable watching it. I'm not gonna lie. It was just, hey, the film is doing its job, just kind of showing you, because there's a lot of assumptions, stupid assumptions about gay people, the gay community, and things like that. And this film right here, shines a light on all of that. Like, not all gay people are the same. Not everyone's experiences are the same. I definitely can't come to any conclusions. However, me growing up, when I talk to gay people, I'm not throwing them volunteering information for me. I noticed a pattern to some degree, but I still understand that's only one small piece of the pie. You know what I'm saying? And this film is just eye-opening, even for myself, that tries to, think that I have somewhat of an open mind. My glass is not full. I still can, take some stuff in. And, that's just what this film is doing right here. And it's weird because, like, when I said that, this film reveals how horrible these conversion schools are, it kind of feels like a cult and like a sect. It's cultist, it's sectish, and SECT. Also, like I said, I talked about performances, but I also want to talk about Joel Edgerton's performance as well. He was a creepy therapist. He threw himself into this role and just really was a character that just made you just very, very uncomfortable. He had this mustache on. It was also interesting how this film touched on religion with Christianity and being Baptist and things like that. And there are so many denominations and of Christianity and just religion itself. You have some people over here that believe in Christianity and they believe that, the Lord Jesus Christ is our Lord and Savior, and they believe in God. But then you have some other people over here that, not in the movie, just in general. Well, in the movie too, just in general, that call themselves Christians too, but they associate with the Ku Klux Klan and stuff like that. And it's crazy. So this film right here, it goes into it as well, like just the different levels and degrees of a so-called religion and Christianity, and how some people can use it for good, and also how some people can use the word of God to manipulate others, for their own worldly view or their own set of rules or whatever. It's pretty disgusting. It's pretty eye-opening, but it's thought-provoking, and I liked it. Now, everything in this film is not good. Something that I just really did not like is the transition of time. This film is not told in a complete linear fashion, just from left to right on a timeline. And that's fine if it's done correctly, but there was one part where I figured it out later on in the film where a character had like a journal, and he was writing down information. And I found out later that when he was writing down, the film is going back to tell that story. Initially, that was very confusing for me for about a good 20 minutes. And I was like, okay, wait a minute. Which events happened before the other? And I was just like, it kind of clocked me out a little bit. But other than that, I really don't have any other gripes. But this was a great film. It's not a perfect film. I also just want to touch on some of the things that I thought Joel Edgerton did with the camera, just to kind of capture the moment, to intensify it. Sometimes he would have the camera, on the floor looking up diagonally at a character, just trying to get that angle and all the expressions and things like that. It was nice. It was some nice sweeping shots here and there. The music, soundtrack, and all that. The score was good too. It was a great film. I enjoyed it, and I'm pretty curious on what you guys think too, especially if you're gay, bi, trans, lesbian, all that good stuff. I would like your perspective as well. If you've seen the film, things that you've gone through in life, no judgment here. If I had to rate Boy Erased out of a 1 out of 10, I would give it an 8.5 out of 10. Yes, an 8.5 out of 10. But guys, that is just my opinion. Have you seen Boy Erased, or do you want to see it? Have I turned you on? Have I turned you off? Do you agree with me, or do you disagree with me? Let me know down in the comment section below. Let's get this conversation going and keep it flowing. If you like this video, go ahead and give me the thumbs up. And if you don't, that's fine, but you can still subscribe to my channel. Excuse me. You can also look me up on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all that good stuff. It's right there at the bottom of the screen, and I made it very easy providing links to all that down in the description box below. But guys, I just want to thank you again for tuning into my opinion/review for Boy Erased, and thank you so much, guys. I reached 6,000 subscribers, and I only did that because of you. Help me make 10,000, and before you go, don't forget that my name is Brandon Keith Avery, and that's just my opinion. Peace.